2 years ago, I was hiking alone in Alaska when I was attacked by a grizzly bear, twice my size. I managed to fight the beast off with my bare hands, but not before it smacked me across the face and left me with this scar right here. Yeah, you're right, I'm just kidding. It'd be a pretty cool story if it were true though, right? The truth is that I've been telling stories like that for a long time, as a way to entertain myself. Because ever since I was a little boy, I've been getting asked the same questions about this thing on my face. What happened? Did a dog bite you? Did you get burned in a fire? Did your sisters beat you up? Of course my sisters could beat me up, but that's not how I got this. This is a birthmark. I was born with it. And when I was a little boy, I became very insecure about it. I thought it made me look ugly, which meant I was afraid of talking to new people. But it especially meant that I was afraid of talking to girls. Yeah. I remember one time in 8th grade homeroom class, I was 12 years old. I was sitting in class on a Monday morning. I was looking around the room, and I noticed some of my classmates were sort of whispering, giggling, looking my way. What's going on? So I looked at my friends Nick and Glenn, who were sitting beside me. I said, guys, what's going on? Why are people acting weird? Nick and Glenn started laughing. They told me that they pulled a little prank on me over the weekend. They thought it would be hilarious if they phoned the 3 most popular girls in our class and asked them out on my behalf. Yeah. I looked at Nick and Glenn. I said, well, why would you do that? I didn't tell you to do that. This is horrible. I mean, you called them, you say, I like them, and like, I want to be girlfriend, boyfriend, this kind of thing. And Nick and Glenn are looking at me like, yeah, that's what we did. Yeah, that's what we did. It's like, no, this is terrible. Wait, jeez. What did they say? Nick and Glenn looked at me and they said, sorry, pal. All 3 girls said no chance. I was devastated. I felt rejected, and I wasn't even the one who asked them out. After that, I was even more afraid of putting myself out there. Seriously, I didn't ask a girl out for 7 years after that incident. Didn't have my first girlfriend until I was 19. In fact, fear began to show up in a lot of areas of my young life. I was afraid of getting into trouble, looking stupid, the basement in my parents' house, failing a math test, clowns, of course, clowns, getting into a fight, heights, drowning, sharks, the dark, ghosts, horror movies. Oh, the first day of school, man, I hated the first day of school. Conflict, strangers, aliens, big cities. I was even afraid to use a urinal beside another guy in a public washroom. I love it. See, I can hear it already. People feel me. There's guys, the pain is real here. You know what I'm talking about. I'm sure everyone can relate in some way because we all have fears. And sometimes those fears can be really annoying. The good news is there's a treatment for some of the fears, some of the things that terrify us the most, like the fear of heights or spiders or snakes. It's called exposure therapy. And the way exposure therapy works is an individual is exposed to the thing they fear the most in a safe, controlled environment, and slowly but surely the exposure increases and people start to get over their fears. It's pretty cool. But what about other fears? Like the fear of a breakup, for example. I don't think you're ever going to hear anybody say the words, I used to be really afraid of breakups, but after 17 marriages and 17 divorces, I think I'm finally overcoming my fear. Exposure therapy probably isn't the solution to a thing like a fear of breakups, or the fear of losing a job, or the fear of a loved one passing away. So how do we deal with these types of fears? 4 years ago, I was experiencing a fear that I'd never experienced before. I felt stuck. It's a fear of being stuck. I was almost a decade into a career as a mechanical engineer, and I wanted out. I wanted to change. But I was afraid. I was 33 years old, and the thought of starting from scratch was scary. So I chose to stay stuck in a soul-sucking daily routine. Now, I'd get up every morning, take an hour-long bus ride to a job I didn't like, take an hour-long bus ride home, make dinner, watch reruns of Modern Family, and go to bed. And repeat. Until finally one day I found some inspiration in a book called AWOL on the Appalachian Trail by David Miller. In the book, David Miller describes how he felt stuck in his career as a software engineer when he decided to quit his job, say goodbye to his wife and kids temporarily, and he hiked the Appalachian Trail in the United States for 5 months. It's pretty cool, pretty inspiring story. Now, I wasn't quite ready to quit my job and go hiking for several months, but I thought, what kind of adventure could I have in a 2-week vacation from work? So like David Miller, I decided to go for a walk. I wanted to see how far I could walk in 2 weeks. So I packed my bag. I had 50 pounds of gear on my back, my tent, my sleeping bag, water, food, some cooking equipment. I had the whole getup. I had the hiking boots, short shorts, the funny-looking hat, the hiking poles like your grandparents probably use when they go for a walk. And I left my apartment in the heart of Montreal, and I started heading east. And it was an adventure. I had to get really creative with my sleeping arrangements. They were a little challenging. I slept behind in the forest, behind people's houses, on farmers' fields, in public parks. It was kind of cool. It was kind of fun. But mostly it really sucked. I had blisters and open sores on my feet that were so bad I had to duct tape my feet every morning. And throughout the day, just to keep them from ripping throughout the day. And at the end of the day, I'd have to tear that duct tape back off. It was painful. I got rained on and had to sleep in a wet sleeping bag. I got eaten alive by mosquitoes. One time I was walking down the street, and this fancy car drove past me. A couple guys hung their heads out the window and yelled at me, "You're a bum!" and threw a crumpled up bag of McDonald's at me. Hit me right in the chest. Some people, right? I know what some of you are thinking as well. Yes, I did look inside the bag of McDonald's to see if there was any food left. I was starving. It was a long walk. Unfortunately, all they left in the bottom of the bag was 5 or 6 cold French fries, which I ate, of course. In the end, I walked 430 kilometers from Montreal to Sherbrooke to Quebec City in 14 days. And when I got home from my adventure, I thought to myself, that was pretty cool. I wonder what other kind of adventures and wild and crazy adventures I can create for myself within the confines of my 9-to-5 job. And then it hit me. I was going to start a blog. You can smell the courage on that one, can't you? In truth, it was the premise of my blog that was the adventurous part. I called my blog The Year of Fear. And the premise of my Year of Fear was that I was going to face a new personal fear every month for 1 year. So I started my Year of Fear in January 2016 with a Canadian Winter Survival Challenge. I snowshoed deep into the forest. I built a snow shelter called a Quincy, and I stayed in it overnight. Temperature dropped to minus 25 degrees Celsius. It was a long, long night. In February, I did a 6-minute stand-up comedy routine at a comedy club in Montreal. And right there, folks, is the same amount of laughter I heard during my show. Wasn't very good. That's not true. I did have a couple laughs, but unfortunately those jokes are not TEDx appropriate, so you're going to have to take my word on this one. In March, I hitchhiked 1,300 kilometers from Halifax to Montreal by myself. In April, I did a silent meditation retreat, and in May, I went bungee jumping. My Year of Fear was rolling along well. I was having fun, I was feeling confident. More people than just my parents were actually reading my blog. It was pretty cool. I think I was walking a little taller, smiling a little wider. And that was when the wheels fell off. First, I got fired from my high-paying corporate engineering job. First time I'd ever been fired in my life. A few weeks after I got fired, my girlfriend and I broke up. We were together for 5 years. Thought she was the one. Toughest breakup of my life. I left our apartment and went and slept on my friend's couch. And a week after my breakup, my grandmother, my last surviving grandparent, someone that was really close with me growing up, passed away. They always come in threes, don't they? I'm sure as I'm telling you these stories of my unexpected challenges, some of you are sitting there thinking about some of the unexpected challenges you've faced in your lives. Now, perhaps you're thinking about how you'd react in my situation. I expected myself to react a lot like grade 8 Eric, the guy who got rejected by those girls and was afraid to put himself back out into the world. But that didn't happen. The first thing I did, or one of the first things I did, I should say, after my breakup, after my trifecta of misery, I call it, is I wrote an article on my blog called How to Deal with a Tough Breakup. That article was vulnerable and honest, but it was positive and forward-thinking. And it resonated with people. It resonated so much, in fact, that I started getting asked to write articles on other blogs that were a lot bigger than mine about how to deal with a breakup. And all of a sudden, I had hundreds of people from around the world emailing me, asking me for breakup and divorce advice. It was pretty cool. I mean, these people were emailing a complete stranger, sharing these intimate personal details with their lives, and I got to create connections with all these new, amazing people. Second thing I did was, since I was basically homeless, I decided to go traveling for a while. I packed my bag and I went backpacking through the United States, Mexico, and Cuba for 4 months. It was amazing. Met all sorts of new people, had all kinds of cool new experiences. And of course, I continued with my year of fear, including combining 2 of my biggest fears into one challenge. My fear of being naked in public and my fear of guns. So I went to a nudist beach in Texas. Yep, there is a nudist beach in Texas, folks. That happened. The thing is, after the loss of my job, the loss of my relationship, and my grandmother, I bounced back pretty quickly. You know, don't get me wrong, I grieved, I had some sad moments. But relatively speaking, I bounced back quickly. And not only did I felt like I bounced back, but I felt like I became a newer, better, more improved version of myself. It was like Eric 2.0. And I realized what I was feeling was resilience. It was the first time in my life I'd ever felt resilience like that. And I believe my resilience was a result of my year of fear. Because I was already living on the edge of my comfort zone and facing my personal fears when those unexpected challenges came my way, I was better able to deal with them in positive, healthy ways. By intentionally facing my fears, I unintentionally built more resilience. As best-selling author and psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi writes, of all the virtues we can learn, no trait is more useful, more essential for survival, and more likely to improve the quality of our lives than the ability to transform adversity into an enjoyable experience. I believe that resilience is that ability. Resilience is the ability to transform adversity, to transform life's unexpected punches and challenges into something positive, into an opportunity for growth. And I believe that if we start to look at resilience like a muscle, something that can be trained and built with practice, we begin to realize that as long as we purposely push the limits, push our own limits, make ourselves uncomfortable and face our personal fears, we better prepare ourselves for life's unexpected challenges that will inevitably come our way. By facing our fears, we can build more resilience. Now, in the spirit of my year of fear, I'd like to face a new fear with you right now. I wrote a poem. Now, I am no Shakespeare, so reciting a poem on the TEDx stage feels a little scary. Would you all like to hear my poem? Yes. All right, thank you. Oh, well, Nice enthusiasm. Pressure's on now. Here we go. I've got something to say, and it's not so easy. This story hits a nerve. I hope you bear with me. Often life can be tough, not always so fair. This tale will explain how I lost all my hair. Now, things started out great, I'm not gonna lie. My blonde baby curls, they caught many an eye. And when my gold mop turned brown in the first years of school, I was still pretty cute. Well, my mom said I was cool. Then came my teens, the truly awkward years. My barber had fun, but all I got were tears. I parted down the middle to keep up with the trends. I flipped up my bangs like those hot guys on Friends. It came time to change the tune of my song, so I grew a big beard, let my hair grow out long. Like the king of the cats, my thick mane made me strong, but soon those long, luscious locks would be gone. Right here in the front was where trouble came first, so I combed my bangs down to hold off the worst. The baldness kept coming, it just wouldn't stop. My jungle dream was over. I was losing my mop. It's a tough pill to swallow as hair you keep losing. Like which hair loss camp fits you? It's not easy choosing. There's comb-overs, transplants, toupees, and weird creams. Some just gaze at combs filled with tears and lost dreams. I chose to let go. I thought bald would be good, so I bought a Mach 3 and shaved down to the wood. I felt my smooth head and thought, I've been a fool. Why did I stress? Bald is kind of cool. Because bad hair days don't happen with hair like The Rock. The wind's a non-factor when out for a walk. On hot days you feel cool and you save on shampoo, no gray hair or lice, and some gals like it too. But for others who go bald, they pout, scream, and cry. They hide from the truth, curse the hair gods to die. Every hair dye commercial just darkens their mood, but it's not a hair problem, only their thoughts that are skewed. Because it doesn't matter if my hair falls out, or if I eat hot dogs with aged sauerkraut, or if I love to cuddle with my sweet little cat, or that back as a kid, I got called nerd and fat. When I walked to Quebec, they gave me the gears and they mocked my blog about facing my fears. They said, you can't change jobs, you're much too old. And you can't do a TEDx talk, that goal's awfully bold. It felt great when at last I awoke from my nap, from caring what others think, to not really giving a crap. Facing fear gave me confidence, strength, and more joy. A big change from a shy, insecure little boy. Now I can't help going bald, or the birthmark on my cheek, but I can face my fears on purpose every week. There'll be tough times ahead, just you wait and see. But we'll be ready, because resilient we will be.